You know, I swear, man, the last couple of seconds, I said the last 30 seconds of this is so big. And you got to be kidding me, Wiggins. You missed the free throw. Wiggins gets 4 free throws here. This is what I'm talking about with Sacramento. They were dumb enough to foul a three-point shooter and then get a technical after. And Wiggins misses the first 2. You got to be kidding me, Wiggins. Bro, you make like $48 million a year, man. Like, is he going to go 0 for 4? Oh, he made the third one. So, no, now they get the ball. So now they get the ball. But that's what a big swing there. Like the Wiggins just screwed them for. Wiggins, let's say he hits the other 2. It's 91-78. And then let's say they hit a 3 here. Boom. They could have cut the lead. Like, you got to hit those shots, Andrew, bro. It's a thing, man. Like, they're not the same team as they were when they won. Like Wiggins, that was the peak of Wiggins. All right, Curry with the 3 late. No, he doesn't take the 3. Wow. For whatever reason, Curry, I don't know what the hell Golden State just did. You guys are like, seriously? Like Sacramento just like willingly almost just wanted to give you 6 points there. Think about the swing that could have just happened if you're Golden State. You had 3 free throws, you missed 2 of them, and then you don't get a damn shot off after. And I don't like, Curry was covered. I don't know why Paul just didn't take the damn 3 or why they didn't drop a play. I didn't know what the hell they were doing. But Curry got the ball. He was kind of covered at the 3-point line, and he took it inside the paint, and they got swatted. Shout out to everyone joining us on SiriusXM Channel 159. This is SportsRage. The Golden State Warriors' legacy is on the ropes. It's the end of the road, like Boys to Men said. This is it. It's the end of the road. It really could be the end of the road for the Golden State Warriors. Although the Warriors aren't just going to like fade off into the sunset or anything like that. They'll retool, right? It's a glamour franchise still. But this is kind of an end of an era right now. As you see, they're just not the same team. You watch this game, and the big difference, one of the big differences is the rebound and the second chance points. It's just the Golden State look like an aging boxer right now. You know, they're fighting a younger fighter, and a younger fighter's just quicker and landing combos. And Golden State's going to have to find a knockout here. And that knockout is Curry's going to have to hit like 5 threes in the first couple of minutes and just get rolling. But there's no flow. And let's give credit to Sacramento. You'd say, well, they're not playing great defense. They're giving up 76 points, but they are. They're not making life easy for Golden State. Like I said, like Curry's older, he's good, but they got some older dudes, and Sacramento are doing a very good job of making they're making Golden State work for their shots. Like they're not giving them open looks. All right, they're not just letting them like pass the ball to an open 3. They're getting to the line. They're protecting. They're doing a good job. It's a job well done so far. But at the same point in time, they have these little collapses like they just did there. At the end with that foul, I can't believe Wiggins missed both those free throws. This really could come back and get me, especially with the in-game total. Looking at the ice right now, we got that parlay rocking with the Vegas Golden Knights and the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks are winning 3-0, and the Vegas Golden Knights are winning 2-0. Some of the NHL playoff picture is starting to come through right now as the matchups are set for the most part. The West is still figuring some things out. So looking at the series numbers, the Colorado Avalanche are minus 138 favorites against the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets are plus 115. The Islanders face the Canes. The Canes are minus 350 favorites to win the series against the Islanders. The Rangers open up as minus 375 favorites against the Washington Capitals. The Rangers are going to survive this, but it's funny. I've taken the Rangers to win the Cup a couple of times over the last couple of years. I was ahead of the curve, but I don't know. I have a weird feeling the Rangers are going to implode and something weird's going to happen to them. I don't know if the Capitals have enough to do it. They could. The Bruins are minus 120 over the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Florida Panthers are minus 176 favorites over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Fourth quarter has just started right now in Sacktown. Rick Saratella is going to step up and join us in about 20 minutes' time. We're going to look at the NFL draft. All right, we're going to keep our eye on this basketball, but we got the NFL draft. The NFL draft's next week, man. This thing it's here. It's go time. And there's a lot of interesting props that are starting to pop up right now, unique ones. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of betting options for the draft. But something that we've got our eye on now is the exact order. Everybody thinks that they're better than Mel Kiper. All right, what's your mock draft, basically? So you can bet this, like the top 3 picks in exact order. We all know that Caleb Williams is going first overall. I personally believe that Jaden Daniels is going to be second. And then I think the New England Patriots are going to surprise people with their pick. Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. Level 3 has begun. The Sacramento Kings leading the Golden State Warriors right now by 13, 91-78, 11 minutes left in the basketball game. Sacramento have been up all night, but they've never really fully pulled away. Andrew Wiggins sort of let him off the hook a couple of minutes ago. There was a technical foul. He had 3 free throws, and the Warriors got the ball, and he missed 2 of the 3 free throws. And Sacramento, or Sabonis, is hitting his free throws, and he just hit a free throw right now. We got a prop on Sabonis over 18.5 points. LeBron James, AD, and company advanced. They beat the New Orleans Pelicans. That's the good news. The bad news is, well, you're playing the Denver Nuggets now. And no, it was ridiculously stupid to believe that they were going to try to lose the game to avoid the Denver Nuggets. It's not like, really, we're not playing video games here. This is the real world. But the Lakers are going to be in tough. The Lakers hung with the Nuggets last year, but they ended up losing all the time, right? But they didn't get blown out in the games. The Nuggets open up right now as 7-point favorites in game 1, minus 300 on the money line. The total is 223.5. So we'll go over all the point spreads. We'll get you caught up to date. And there's a big party going on right now in Sacktown. They're up 95-78 with 10 minutes left in this game. Golden State are on the ropes for real, and it doesn't look like they have a response. Like there's no offensive rhythm. They're not getting clean shots. They're getting bad looks. There's no ball movement. They look like a team that's about to get blown out right now, actually. Hopefully we can still hit this total because I'm on the Golden State Warriors here. Rick Saratella is going to step up in all-access football, NFL Draft Bible in the house. We're going to take a look at the NFL Draft and a bunch of interesting props that are being posted right now, including the exact order of the top 3 picks in the National Football League draft. So the Lakers get it done. They get the Denver Nuggets. Golden State just hit a 3, but it doesn't count. There was a foul. Wow. It's a disaster for the Warriors.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Boy, if you passed him up as a Heisman Trophy winner and he lights the league on fire like C.J. Stroud over a Bryce Young, you might not make it as a head coach or in your regime here. I just don't think they can pass over Daniels at number 2.
He's sitting at 5.8 goals, saved above average. He has been standing on top of his head for this team, but defense has to help him out a little bit. the Red Wings defense comes alive just a bit, I think that they're definitely going to punch their card.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
North Carolina come back, take the lead, and then somehow Alabama punches back. A true classic. Like, the word classic gets tossed around loosely a lot, but that really was a true classic.
Great point earlier about Arizona. They had such an advantage under the basket, yet they're having guys just chuck threes. Their whole game plan sucked from the get-go. Like, the fact that they lost that game, I put a lot of it on coaching.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The Early Line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell Coast to Coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from three on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not one, but two coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. It almost feels like this is like conference tournament time again, all over again, right? It's like teams are booking their spot to the dance. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, they're in. You know, it feels like this is like the Dayton play-in right now. It's like the first four in Dayton, but it has that feel. But same thing in the National Hockey League, right? Like teams are booking their spot into the playoffs right now. It's coming down to the final nights. For the record, the Washington Capitals have ended all the drama in the Eastern Conference. It's been a wild night tonight. You know, we can complain about the NHL schedule and this and that, and rightfully so. They're kind of like they do a lot of stupid things. But that's the whole thing that's frustrating. They have a great product, but the play the last couple of nights in the NHL has been lit. Teams pulling their goalies, trying to get goals. They need this, they need that, they need points in regulation, and it's been pretty wild stuff. And, of course, the Lakers have punched their ticket to the dance, although the bad news is they got to deal with the Denver Nuggets now. And the Golden State Warriors are on the ropes for real. It's going to take an epic collapse from Sacramento. They're up by 17 with 9 minutes left in this game. And Golden State don't have any sense of urgency really about them. Curry does. Curry's like, Curry is hustling out here right now. But as a whole, the body language is bad. Like, it's a Sacramento team that's dominating the game right now. Golden State knows it. Steph Curry looks very frustrated after every time they score. This is it right now for the Golden State Warriors. Like I said, I'm on the Warriors, but I got the over this game as well. We were on the Lakers tonight. The Lakers get it done. And just a collective team effort tonight from the Lakers. Nobody, it wasn't just one person. AD did his thing, 20 points, 15 rebounds, 6 of 16 from the field. You could have scored more points, but AD was solid tonight, 8 of 10 from the free throw line. LeBron was a perfect 10 for 10 from the free throw line. It was a difference in the game. The Lakers hit 26 of their 29 free throws. Meanwhile, the Pelicans only took 15 free throws. Yet it's not really an instance of, while the Lakers got preferential treatment, the Pelicans didn't take it into the paint that much, but there were a lot of kind of nothing calls, right, that were made in this game. Zion went off for 40 points tonight. He had to leave the game late, and that clearly had an impact on the game as well because he was unstoppable in the second half. Like, he really raised it up, and he consistently kept taking it to the rack with the same moves. And even though the Pelicans lost tonight, they're not done yet, but even though they lost tonight, moving forward, listen, if you guys remember, I picked the Pelicans as a long shot to win the Western Conference. I said, you know what? I think they got a lot of talent, and at 30-1, it's a good price. But Zion came into the year this year, and he wasn't in the best of shape. Not as bad. He wasn't as fat as past years, but it still wasn't great. And let's not forget, man, he was dealing with that porn star girl that was like online all the time. And like, it wasn't an easy situation the kid was dealing with. And he put himself in that situation. But as they discussed tonight, it was after the midseason tournament. It's easy to forget. Remember the NBA had that in-season tournament thing? And the Pelicans got smoked by 40 points in the semifinals of it. And they said that Zion kind of changed after that night. He was like, never again. And he stopped eating junk food. He hired a personal chef. And, like, he kind of did all these things that he should have done, like, 3 years ago. But better late than never. And you see, I mean, he is a dominant freaking player, man. When this kid's on the court, I mean, he's good. You saw it tonight. Like, the Lakers had no answer for him. So a real off season for Zion, living a healthy lifestyle. I think coming into next year, he's going to be a really dangerous player for real. I know we've heard that in the past about him, but he is dangerous already. But I'm just talking about consistent and then becoming one of the better players in the NBA, a consistent superstar, which I think he has the capability of doing. So there's 7 minutes left in this game right now. Sacramento are up by 15. Rick Saratella is going to join us in a couple minutes. We got to get to the NFL draft. This thing is coming up. There's so much going on in the sports world right now. Last night was the WNBA draft. And the numbers are in for the WNBA draft, and there's unbelievable numbers once again as well. 2.4 million people. The NBA draft got 3.7 million people. The NHL draft got like 670,000 people. So to put in context, like the WNBA draft last night was a lot like the NCAA tournament. They just, the streak continues, so to speak. And the season's around the corner as well. Starts May 14th. Sacramento fans are starting to stand. The party is on. Keegan Murray's got 29 points now. And Sacramento, it's not going to make up, it's not going to make up for past years and screw jobs that Sacramento King fans have been through. But, right, Klay Thompson now, guys, and this is where Klay, I mean, just imagine some of these shows, the troll shows in the morning. Klay Thompson is 0 for 10 from the field. Right? Like the media always likes, Klay Thompson was already the guy that people were looking at, and this could be the end for him there, but this is not the way you want to go out. 0 for 10 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3. Klay Thompson has 0 points. He hasn't attempted a free throw. He's got 0 points. He's played 28 minutes as well. Kuminga's given him 14 points. It's just a complete disaster. Draymond Green's actually given him 12 points. Andrew Wiggins given him 12. Curry's got 20. Klay Thompson has nothing. Absolutely nothing. Kuminga's got 14. Moody's actually got 16. The math just isn't adding up for them, though. They can't stop Sacramento. This thing is a wrap. 105-86 right now with a little under 6 minutes remaining. The Sacramento Kings will be advancing into the postseason for real. And one thing I want to say here about Sacramento, we saw it tonight with the Laker game, where the Lakers were in control, right? They were up by 12, right before the end of the half, and then Zion scored right at the buzzer, and it was a 10-point game. But then the Lakers started to pull away a little bit in the third quarter, and then they slowed down the tempo a lot. They changed the style that they were playing, and it allowed the Pelicans to get back into it. Right? It's like, you guys were doing well playing quickly against the Pelicans. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't take the air out of the ball so quickly. They did, and the Pelicans ended up coming back. Sacramento did not. I'll give credit to the Kings. The Kings got a lead here tonight, and they really haven't taken the pedal off the metal. They're bombing threes. They're slowing it down a little bit now because they're up by 20 with 5 minutes left, but they did a good job of not relenting, right? You know, you see coaches relent, take the air out of the ball. They think they have a bigger lead than they do. You see it in football all the time. So props to the Kings. Harrison Barnes has been great here in this fourth quarter. It's over for Golden State. It's 105-86 right now. They're not coming back, and I'm in trouble as I got the Warriors and I got the over as well, over 222, and it's 216.5 in game right now. And Sacramento, we're going to start to really walk it up the floor here still, and Golden State have pretty much quit. I talked a couple of minutes ago about their lack of urgency. They've scored 36 points in the second half, Golden State. They've scored 10 points here in the fourth quarter. Like, to put in context, so they've scored 36 points in the second half, the Warriors. Sacramento themselves scored 37 points in the third quarter. Like, Golden State have tapped out. It's a wrap, baby. Countdown to the NFL draft is on, though. And we keep waiting for that big first trade to happen. Is it going to happen? How is this going to play out? Let's talk NFL football with Rick Saratella on the other side. This is Sports Rage.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Boy, if you passed him up as a Heisman Trophy winner and he lights the league on fire like C.J. Stroud over a Bryce Young, you might not make it as a head coach or in your regime here. I just don't think they can pass over Daniels at number 2.
He's sitting at 5.8 goals, saved above average. He has been standing on top of his head for this team, but defense has to help him out a little bit. The Red Wings defense comes alive just a bit. I think that they're definitely going to punch their card.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
North Carolina come back, take the lead, and then somehow Alabama punches back. A true classic. Like, the word classic gets tossed around loosely a lot, but that really was a true classic.
Great point earlier about Arizona. They had such an advantage under the basket, yet they're having guys just chuck threes. Their whole game plan sucked from the get-go. Like, the fact that they lost that game, I put a lot of it on coaching.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
Sports Rage
This
Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The countdown to the National Football League draft continues, as does the Twisted Tuesday. This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency, the Pitch the Players, the Hustlers, the Rick Saratellas, and everybody else in between. We're throwing it down. SportsGrid Radio and Television Network. Shout out to all of our AM affiliates, television affiliates as well. Let's do this thing. Rick, it's always a pleasure, my man. Let's roll. A little more than a week away from the National Football League draft.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? I can't wait. In fact, when we're here next week, we'll just be hours away. I can feel the anticipation.
You know what? I can tell you, though, in past years, Rick, I've already had, at times, like thousands of dollars in bets leading into an NFL draft. And like, you know, like weeks before a draft, a month before, like I already have a portfolio. Yeah, I got $250 on that. I got 100 on this. I got 500 on that. This draft, I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of takes. Every time my finger's in front of the click button on the computer, I'm like, oh, I don't really know, man. You know what I mean? I'm always like, you know, I think this is going to happen. And then when I have to really put money on it, I'm like, I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. There's so much uncertainty still, Rick, and we're a week out right now, man. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, there is some uncertainty. I did see Jaden Daniels has become significantly favored now over Drake May to become the number 2 pick. So I think there's a little bit more clarity there.
I believe that. Do you? I buy in. I was going to get to that. Yes. I think that Jaden Daniels is going to be the set. Come on, Kingsbury's the OC there, bro. They're taking Jaden Daniels, man.
And the inkling on the wall was when they signed Marcus Mariota in the offseason. Like, if you're building a team from scratch, ideally you want to have a backup quarterback that's similar to the starting quarterback so you don't have 2 different offenses. So that just makes a lot of sense, right? And then number 3 becomes a wild card because I'm not sure the Patriots even know what they're going to do with it, right? Because I think everybody was waiting to see, are the Vikings going to make an offer that knocks somebody's socks off? Now, our good friend Howard Balzer, who you've had on the show, Pro Football Hall of Fame voter, he's saying the Cardinals are going to stand put and take Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 4.
Hold on. Let me just put my hand up and say who's been saying that all along. That I said I think they want Marvin Harrison. Hey, that's me. Yeah, and Balzer's my guy. Me and Balzer go way back to his USA Today days, and
And that's about as credible of a source that you can have. It makes a lot of sense. They've been trying to replace Larry Fitzgerald since he retired. So all of a sudden, your boy Harbaugh at 5, maybe dangling a little carrot there. I think the Chargers are a team that could look to trade back, right? And so there's so many wild cards there at number 3, at number 5. The Giants are a wild card at 6. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's sort of certainty. We know the players. We don't know where they're going. Like, we don't know. That's the whole thing. So just quickly about Harrison, I've always been that one guy in the minority that said, Arizona, you're going to have to really, really blow them away because I think they want Marvin Harrison. They've been rebuilding forever, and I get it. They're still rebuilding, but they're sort of no, let's do this. I know you like Gannon. Their coach is really, really good. So, you know, I think that they believe in Kyler Murray, but they know we've got to get him some weapons. And the last thing about it, Marvin Harrison wants to be an Arizona Cardinal, which not, you know what I mean? It's not like a lot of people are ever like superstar players, ever like, yeah, I want to be a Cardinal. He wants to be the next Fitzgerald. Evidently, I heard too that DeAndre Hopkins told Marvin Harrison Sr. that he said, Kyler's good. He said, I like Kyler. He goes, it's a cool place. Like, Hopkins endorsed it and basically said, no, like, yeah, you should take over and be the guy there. And Harrison likes this. Like, he's down. So I think they like that. Now, I've got a prop up here. Now it's getting real for bets, guys. So here it is. Exact order of the top 3 picks, Rick. And you and I agree. So we all know Caleb Williams won. You and I agree. Jaden Daniels goes 2 to Washington. So the prop is Caleb number 1, Jaden Daniels number 2, Drake May number 3 is minus 130. The other one is Caleb Williams first, Drake May second, Jaden Daniels third. That's plus 250. The other one, there's a bunch of them, but the other one, this one I'm curious about. Caleb Williams 1, Jaden Daniels 2, J.J. McCarthy 3 to the New England Patriots at plus 600. I think that's worth a bet, Rick. What do you think?
Yeah, I've been surprised because May has been the steady favorite over J.J. McCarthy there for that number 3 pick, and I think that's where Vegas might be off the mark. I don't see that. And then give New England credit now. They've done a great job with this whole new regime. A lot of people in and out of that building, a lot of old people from the previous regime still in that building, and they've still managed to keep a tight lid on that. But if it's me, I know they had a 2 or 3 day meeting with J.J. McCarthy just this week. And sometimes the last impression, the final impression is the best impression. I don't know. I think it's McCarthy.
You've talked about it. You and I talked about it. They're success guys going down the Ann Arbor route before with Tom Brady. Has to make Robert Kraft a little bit comfortable. It always comes down to the owner, too, when you talk about a big pick like this. So... And, like you said, Rick, Howard Balzer, as credible as it gets, Hall of Famer, and the writer's been around forever, Hall of Fame voter, and he specifically covers the Arizona Cardinals right now.
Correct.
Right? So that's the whole thing. He's in Arizona. So when I hear him say something, you say, he's talking about the Cardinals, I listen, I believe him. And there's quite a few people in Boston that are believing that J.J. McCarthy is the guy as well. Like, longtime Patriot beat writers that are able to get anything that they could out of the regime. And even you just said, they've been meeting with them a couple of times. They like him. I'm starting to buy in, and J.J. McCarthy's going to go third. Not to mention, I love the Buffalo Bills, and I love J.J. McCarthy. So they're going to do this just to torture me, Rick. Of all teams, he's going to end up on. And I'm not saying he's a threat to knock Josh Allen off and, they're going to take over the world. But I want to support the kid. I want to root for the guy. Like, if he's on the Vikings or the Broncos, I'd be like, you know what? Maybe I'll get a hat or something, and I'll cheer for him. But if he's a Patriot, I can't do it.
I'm going to send you that J.J. McCarthy Patriots jersey. We're going to frame it right back there.
Yeah, I'll put it up there, I guess. Yeah, put it on the wall.
But, I had McCarthy to the Patriots since my NFL Combine mock draft back in February. It hasn't wavered yet. I believe that he is the number 2 quarterback in this year's NFL draft. And I do believe that he would be a great fit for the New England Patriots.
And then, as you stated about the Chargers, so what's going to happen with that pick? I think the Chargers would like to trade the pick, and so. Let's say hypothetically, what you and I think happens: Williams, Daniels, McCarthy, Marvin Harrison goes 4th to Arizona. Then Harbaugh and the Chargers are in the 5 hole. Let's say nobody trades the pick. Even though I think
this is the Vikings' ideal situation now.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. They have McCown, who's his high school coach.
Now they're not giving up.
Connell's a great, yeah.
And they're not giving up as much.
And you beat the Giants to the punch at 6.
Right. That's what's going to happen.
Do the Giants like Drake May?
If the Vikings don't move up, then it might be the Broncos or it might be the Raiders. But the Giants, they're in a pickle there because they got to move up. They got to give up to move up 1. They only have 5 picks to begin with.
Interesting. Rick Saratella kicking with us. A lot of ways that this could go. Let's just you and I kick the tires on this just quickly. I'm going to throw it out here. Brock Bowers 7 to Tennessee. I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. And next week we have our final answers, Rick. We'll be able to speak. But I'm going to say Brock Bowers 7 to Tennessee right now, bro. And that's a little higher than a lot of people have him going.
Well, the Brock Bowers was right here in Jersey just yesterday being wined and dined by Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. They made sure to have all their star power on hand. And I'll tell you what, man, they signed Calvin Ridley in the offseason. They got Nuke Hopkins there. You want to talk about setting up Will Levis for success? Throw Brock Bowers.
They brought Pollard in, too, from the Cowboys. I think they overpaid him, but he's still good.
Yeah, so now you've got a 1, 2, and 3 receiving core with Pollard in the backfield. I think that could be a good recipe. Now, Levis is going to be on the run because he might be, on his back looking up at the sky half the
time. He's a tough kid. He can handle it. He's hardcore, that kid, man. Remember last year? He won a game and he ran. He nearly knocked Vrabel over on the sideline.
Oh, he went right. His first game, he went right in DeAndre Hopkins' face. Like, bro, what are you doing? Gotta catch that, son.
They still have Hopkins too. Right. So you got Hopkins, you got Ridley. You bring in Pollard. Imagine now you bring in a Brock Bowers. That's real deal stuff, man.
Now,
Here it is, Rick.
Bowers did not work out at the pro day. I think it might have hurt him a little bit. We shall see.
So Brock Bowers to be a top 10 pick is plus 120. Yet it's kind of like this. If he goes 7, if he doesn't go 7, does he fall to the Jets at 10?
Yeah, top 10. If that includes the Jets, I mean, that's a lock.
No, we would lose at the 10.5.
10.5. Okay. Well, no.
Yeah,
10
no.
and a half.
So 10.
Okay.
So the Jets, we'd get it at 10. We get it at if the Jets took him at 10, we would get it exactly. As long as he's not, not 11. It's not a bad bet at plus 120.
Very good.
Dallas Turner as well, top 10 pick is minus 175. There's no way in hell that an offensive player doesn't go in the top 10 of the NFL draft.
I don't know, because Atlanta is a team that could trade down potentially. The Bears.
Yeah, they're the ones that are supposed to take him. But the Bears could take him, bro. The Bears have loaded up on offense. The Bears could take him.
Well, the Bears have been trying to trade up, from what I understand, and get a wide receiver. We shall see. There is a possibility, though, that no defensive player goes in the top 10. You got one team, Atlanta, at number 8, that may go defense. Right?
We'll hit this on the other side. Brock Bowers, top 10. I got a million numbers in front of me here. So, top 10 pick is plus 120 right now for Brock Bowers. And I think the Titans are in play there, and I think the Jets are in play right there. So I think you can squeeze it. Anytime you're making these bets, you always want more than one team to be interested in a guy.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Boy, if you passed him up as a Heisman Trophy winner and he lights the league on fire like C.J. Stroud over a Bryce Young, you might not make it as a head coach or in your regime here. I just don't think they can pass over Daniels at number 2.
He's sitting at 5.8 goals, saved above average. He has been standing on top of his head for this team, but defense has to help him out a little bit. The Red Wings defense comes alive just a bit. I think that they're definitely going to punch their card.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
North Carolina come back, take the lead, and then somehow Alabama punches back. A true classic. Like the word classic gets tossed around loosely a lot, but that really was a true classic.
Great point earlier about Arizona. They had such an advantage under the basket, yet they're having guys just chuck threes. Their whole game plan sucked from the get-go. Like, the fact that they lost that game, I put a lot of it on coaching.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage Late
This sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Twisted Tuesday continues. This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. We're kicking it with Rick Saratel. Great stuff talking about the NFL draft. Man, the NBA playoffs are here. Awesome time of the year right now. So, Rick, the all-time record for offensive players taken in the first round in the NFL draft is 19. It's happened 3 times before. So 19 players taken on the offensive side of the football in the first round. And the sports books have it posted at 20.5 and 21.5. Some are at 20.5. It's like minus 160, and others are 21.5 at minus 110. Man, I mean, with all these offensive players being taken, teams have to take players to stop these players as well, don't they? I mean, this is crazy. Is there really going to be 22 offensive players taken in the first round?
Well, we just touched on it the last segment, right? You might get the first 10 all offensive. So then you just need what? You need 11 out of
That's
the next
insane.
22.
There's 22 more. 22
right,
left.
So you just got to go 50% the rest of the way. Although I think there's a checks and balances in this thing. Edge rushers get pushed up the board. There's going to be some surprises you can't account for. Nobody's talking about a safety, but I find it hard to believe there's going to be at least one safety, I think. Peyton Wilson, nobody puts him in the first round mock. I mean, pound for pound, I think he's the best defensive player in this year's draft. I find it hard to believe that nobody's going to take a Peyton Wilson
Okay,
in the
just
first
for the record,
round.
hold on, let me just throw this out here because it's all about now we're all about betting here. Safeties taken in the first round, they say 0.5. So basically, the question is, will there be one safety taken in the first round? Yes is plus 400, Rick. You put $100 on the table, you'll get $500 back if you say yes. Do you believe that a safety can be taken in the first round? Is this worth a bet?
I have Tyler Nubin with a strong first-round grade. He did not work out in the pre-draft process. I do believe that there is one NFL team intelligent enough to fall in love with that player, so I'm going to go yes.
Wow. Okay. There's a little bit of a long shot at plus 400. Nothing wrong with that. And we were just talking about it before about the Brock Bowers top 10. Be careful, guys, with the reading of your bets and stuff too. Like, you know what I mean? Because there's a difference. Over, under 10.5, top 10. Is it a push? Is it this? So just sort of read the fine print when it comes to these draft props. Okay. So there's a bunch of them I want to throw at you here. Running backs, actually. Here's another one. Word on the street is I saw not just one, but I've seen a couple of respected people that cover the NFL draft say that they don't think there's going to be a running back taken until the third round of this draft. Rick, buy or sell that no running backs are taken until like the third round. And who's the first running back going to be taken? Benson. Troy Benson's the favorite at plus 175. Jonathan Brooks is plus 200. And then Blake Corum is the third choice at plus 400. What do you think about the running back situation?
What do you think about Benson to the Cowboys in round 2? It kind of has a nice ring to it. I mean, and I'm not buying a running back's not going until the third round. There'll be at least 2 in the second round. NFL teams value. In fact, you've seen a little bit of a renaissance the last couple of years in the NFL draft at the running back position. Now, it just so happens there's not a true first-round talent. Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin started the season as the number 1 guy. He kind of crapped the bed in the 40-yard dash. Benson, I don't know. Teams don't like him, a 220-pound guy who runs a 4.3 40. I think he's a top 50 talent. I would even consider him in the back end of the first round personally, but I think a team like the Dolphins or the Cowboys in round 2 make a lot of sense. Even Tennessee, I know they got Tony Pollard, but they did let Derrick Henry walk away. A guy like Benson could come and fill that void.
You see why Florida State was so good. You got Trey Benson, you got Keon Coleman. I'm a big Verse fan too. I think Jared Verse is falling under the radar actually. As far as I just think he's a baller. Like whatever team I didn't even realize his story, Rick. Like I just liked him physically. You know what I mean? Like watching him in Florida State, watching him through the draft process. I thought he knocked it out of the park all the time, but I didn't know his background about not being recruited by anybody, like just, climbing the ranks. I mean, we're from Albany, I believe. Like this kid really, like he didn't have it handed. Yeah, he didn't have it handed to him, man. They were like, dude, he was like a tight end. He ended up on the defensive line and stuff. But you could just tell his work ethic. I don't know. It was just one of those deals where if I was in a building, I'd be like, I like this kid. I want this kid on my football team. You know what I mean?
He's checked off every box. He's dealt with adversity on and off the field. He's worked for everything he's had, and he's produced at a very high level. And shout out to Mike Norvell for what he's done there, working the transfer portal.
Do you think that Benson will be the first running back taken, though?
I don't see how he's not.
So it's not a bad bet then, plus 175. Anytime you get plus money on something you think is good, right?
Outstanding. Absolutely.
How about this one, Rick? Offensive lineman taken in the first round. Over under 9.5. It's minus 200 to the over as well. So they're thinking, this is happening for sure.
You could see up to 8 offensive tackles in the first round. That's how crazy it's going to be. Graham Barton, to me, is a top 20 guy out of Duke. You could classify him as a tackle or a center. Jackson Johnson Powers out of Oregon, I think, is a first-round guy. So there's your 2 centers. I don't know. To me, Darius Mims out of Georgia, J.C. Latham out of Alabama, Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma State. I mean, those guys all have question marks. I think some of them slide out of the first round, so I'm going to go under.
Fashadou's a lock. Really, it's a little high, so there's plus money there. So I like where you're going with this. Everyone always like to bet the over these things, Rick. I like this. Under. I'm thinking, too. It's a lot. The guys you just rattled off. I want to get to the Big Ten prop that I was tweeting about earlier. Here's just a random one I'm going to throw at you. Tony Franklin, wide receiver, the Ducks. Speed burner, really fast player. It's plus 300 that he's a first-round pick. I don't think he is. He's probably going to be a second-round pick. But what do you think about what's your thoughts on Franklin? Does he match up to these other guys that everyone keeps talking about? Mitchell, Worthy out of Texas. What's your take on Tony Franklin?
Yeah, I like the size, speed, dimensions, but it's just such a heavy hitting wide receiver class. Like, he's number 9 on my draft board right now. He could be the number 6 wide receiver off the board, but like Ladd McConkey at 35.5 is his over under. I think he's a first round guy. I have Xavier Worthy at 7. You know, my top 5 is Brian Thomas, Adonai Mitchell, Roma Dudze, Malik Neighbors, and Marvin Harrison. And I even got a guy like Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky going ahead of Troy Franklin.
That's your 5. But as far as Harrison, do you not believe, you don't think Harrison's the best wide receiver? He's just sort of locked in.
I went backwards. I went in reverse order. Yeah. I got Harrison. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Neighbors going to be interesting where Neighbors pops up. Because we were talking about the Chargers. It makes sense for the Chargers to trade the pick. It also makes sense, in a way, the way Harbaugh thinks. I can see him liking Joe Alt and thinking, line. We're going to build a foundation. We're getting the offensive line, and we'll get skill guys later in the draft. Same thing with Brock Bowers. I think he would like Brock Bowers, but I also think he would be like, you know what? I coach in the Big Ten. We'll get the Iowa kid there in the second and the fourth round or something, right? I think he understands the value of how to work it. Yeah.
Well, Harbaugh has been known from an NFL scouting standpoint. Since going back to Stanford, this guy always was 3-4 deep at the tight end position. I mean, he'd have third-string tight ends coming out for the draft, getting drafted in the back end. And so he's a big believer in the tight end spot. But you could state a case. I don't think he's going to go finesse over.
So you don't think he goes Malik? Because I was going to say they need a wide receiver.
No,
I mean, they've lost Williams, they've lost Allen. I know.
Yeah, but he won with guys like Romeo Wilson and Cornelius Johnson, who, oh, by the way, are in this year's draft and can be had in the middle rounds.
Yeah, Wilson's a good player that's flying. I know you're a big fan of Roman Wilson. I know. Well, Michigan Wolverine, Hawaiian kid.
Believe it or not, I have Cornelius Johnson slightly ahead of Romeo Wilson just because of his change of direction and speed. And I'm not a big analytics guy, Gabe, but when you look at Cornelius Johnson's height and his miles per hour on the catapult and the next gen stats in terms of his change of direction, Cornelius Johnson is elite. And I think he's a guy that people don't realize. He came in at 6'3", 212 pounds. He ran a 4.4 440, had a 38-inch vert. I mean, this guy's athleticism is through. And I'll tell you what, he was the best route runner out at the East-West Shrine Bowl that I saw.
That's the whole thing about Michigan. People talk about the J.J. McCarthy, who's become the polarizing dude of the draft for whatever reason before it's even happened. But Michigan wide receivers don't get to show off as much. Like, imagine if Johnson, imagine if Roman Wilson, imagine these guys were on the USC Trojans or something, right? And they're catching passes when they're playing in a Pac-12. They're going to put up a lot bigger numbers. And not to mention, too, we talked about just sort of the Michigan connection about Harbaugh and McCarthy. But if you look at Nico Collins, bro, look how much better like Nico Collins is in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like the Michigan wide receivers are good. Like Michigan recruit good wide receivers. And you see, like they can ball in the NFL.
And again, I mean, I look at Roman Wilson,
Peoples-Jones, another kid, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'm saying, like they produce.
And you're talking about guys that tested through the roof. I mean, Roman Wilson ran a 4.39 with a 4.07 short shuttle, 6.89 3-cone. I mean, I'm looking at all the numbers. I don't even see anybody that has a better 6.8 3-cone. So you're talking about guys that are like in the elite percentile, and this is a big deal when you talk about.
Harbaugh's going to get him. Everyone thinks he's going to get Corum. This is the kid. He's going to get him for Herbert. Just say, I'm going to get Will. I'm going to bring him. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, listen, time's flying by here. Over under Big Ten players taken in the first round. Over under 5.5. So, and unfortunately, guys, no, USC and Washington players don't count yet. Otherwise, it'd be a lock. We can cash in with a doomsday moves ever. So, no, they don't count yet. But J.J. McCarthy, first round, yes. Marvin Harrison's a lock, first round, yes. Fashanu, first round lock, yes, out of Penn State, offensive lineman. Cooper DeJean, first round lock out of Iowa.
I believe so, yes.
Chop Robinson. We get to 6, Rick. I'm a Big Ten guy. I'm not sure we get to 6. I know you like the kid out of Illinois as well. But what do you think?
I'm a big Johnny Newton fan. I think, Chop Robinson, again, I've been tracking this thing a long time. When you look at those measurables and you look again at the track record of the Penn State edge rushers, like the kid from Baltimore had 0 sacks in college.
You read my mind about him, but he went in the second round, that kid, right? Or was it late first? No, it was late first. It was late first he went. You're right.
I think he was a first rounder, and I think Chop Robinson, I'll tell you what, there's some people there hanging out at the Penn State Pro Day that thought the other defensive end was just as good, if not better, Adisa Isaac. So he's a dark horse candidate for the first round as well. I do. So
you say over? Your gut says over?
I think they're going to get to 6. I do.
There's Rick Saratella. Awesome stuff. Rick, we got about 20 seconds. Where can people find you online? And the CFL season's coming up. I know you're pounding the pavement for the Edmonton Elks.
Yeah, come see me in training camp next month in Edmonton, and allaccessfootball.com for the draft cover. We talked about Balzer. He's going to do an in-depth breakdown of the 2024 quarterback class over at allaccessfootball.com. Check that out.
Awesome stuff, allaccessfootball.com. Just for the record.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We talked about the Ohtani story. This interpreter, Ipe, clearly was a problem gambler. I mean, he would be identified as that and beyond. Now, there are a lot of others that are out there.
The timing didn't seem great. It seemed slightly tone deaf in terms of, maybe now isn't the time to say it. But the sentiment itself, you have to agree with. There's only so much a sports betting company can do, right?
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Boy, if you passed him up as a Heisman Trophy winner and he lights the league on fire like C.J. Stroud over a Bryce Young, you might not make it as a head coach or in your regime here. I just don't think they can pass over Daniels at number 2.
He's sitting at 5.8 goals saved above average. He has been standing on top of his head for this team, but defense has to help him out a little bit. The Red Wings defense comes alive just a bit. I think that they're definitely going to punch their card.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
North Carolina come back, take the lead, and then somehow Alabama punches back. A true classic. Like, the word classic gets tossed around loosely a lot, but that really was a true classic.
Great point earlier about Arizona. They had such an advantage under the basket, yet they're having guys just chuck threes. Their whole game plan sucked from the get-go. Like, the fact that they lost that game, I put a lot of it on coaching.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The Early Line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not one, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage Late
sort
Night.
of has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Thanks to Rick Saratella for throwing it down with us. And I do like that pick, the trifecta, the exact order of the top 3 picks of the National Football League draft, which is now just a little more than a week away. The odds are already, it's a fluid market. It's changing all the time. But we do like this. We're going to pull the trigger with Caleb Williams to be the first pick, Jaden Daniels to be the second pick, and J.J. McCarthy to be the third pick in the National Football League draft. Yet it has to be exact order. It's like a trifecta, like, exact order, like a trifecta, exact at the horse track and or when we do the F1 exact orders. So 1, 2, 3 exact order, plus 600, 6-1. That Caleb Williams is first, Jaden Daniels is second, J.J. McCarthy is third. I think that's how it's going to play out, and I think it's a pretty good number at plus 600. 118-94 was the final score in Sacktown. So Sacramento lived to play another day. We've got a number for you against the Pelicans. Friday night, Sacramento in New Orleans. The Pelicans are minus 2-point favorites in the game. The total is 219. And tomorrow night's action, the Philadelphia 76ers are now laying 5 points. The total is 208. And the Hawks and Bulls. Everyone likes the Hawks in this game. It should be noted that no 10 seeds ever won a play-in game before, as they discussed and brought up tonight after Golden State's loss. So the 10 seed, it's the kiss of death. Although everyone likes the Hawks against the Bulls tomorrow, I actually lean with the Bulls tomorrow, and I lean with the Sixers. Tough games, obviously. These damn Eastern Conference play-in, come on, the Hawks and the Chicago. This really is like the Dayton play-in. Klay Thompson took a extra couple of seconds after the game tonight on the court to sort of soak it all in. And he seemed like, the body language was that he thinks and he knows that it's his last game with the Golden State Warriors. If it is, it'll be a shame because he went 0 for 10 from the field tonight. Other than that, you're on your own. Later.